There you go. All right. Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming to you from the dark recesses of the proverbial Dawn Forge Pouch. This is episode 235 of the Shattered Soulstone Blizzcon Extravaganza. Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download at bit.ly/Soulstone 2019. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPod, MP3 player, or real man phone. It is November 3rd, 2019. I'm your main man, Deadgreed. Give me an internet high five because I didn't screw up any parts of the intro. Today, I brought one of my second favorite person with me, coming to you from a scratchy throat and a lot of notes. It's Shazam!
What's going on?
Woo, BlizzCon, brother. Dang. Whoo.
Luckily, I started feeling better the day before BlizzCon.
You know what? I think I'm just going to drop all the weeks in gaming and all that shit because, man, we got news.
I didn't do any gaming anyway. I was too damn
I did
sick.
a little bit, but it's okay. Let's just get into it. BlizzCon 2019 opening ceremony. What are your thoughts, brother?
I liked, and Riker missed this, and
oh yeah,
apparently he was on the stage that had the problem with the video too, but Riker was tweeting during the countdown because he was like, "It's a countdown. Who cares?" But if anybody didn't pay any attention, it went to 6, and then it slowed down, and then it went to 5, and then
everything turned red.
Then it turned red and went to 4, and then that was the end of the countdown.
It went straight black, just 4, and boom, lights out. I knew right then, brother. I knew as soon as it turned red.
Yeah. And then
I was like, oh shit! I was like, oh shit! Oh shit! Here we go! And then you see that cross, and the old school Diablo 2 looking type. I knew right then.
It's like the door slamming shut, that's happened.
Yeah, the old town. That's got to be Old Tristram, right?
I don't know.
Or whatever the hell it was. Maybe New Tristram. Or, yeah, it's got to be Old Tristram. It's got to be the Tristram. And, that barn doors is slamming open and shut. I was like, ah! I didn't know who the 4 dudes were. I was like, who's these guys?
I don't know who the dude was at the grave. I don't know who the people. Obviously, the other people were grave robbers, and they were just got that one, the Leviathan-looking guy.
Okay.
Reading everything.
Everybody thought that was Tyrael, not Tyrael, by the way. If you watch the video, he has the satchel on with the scrolls in it, so he's obviously a member of the Horadrim, right? Or I would say he's a member of the Horadrim.
I don't know.
And he can read all the old Sanskrit. Yeah. So I would say he's a Horadrim. I don't know any of their names. So the 4 guys that come up.
Well, Deckard Cain was supposed to be the last of the Horadrim, so.
Yeah, I don't know that.
That doesn't make any sense.
It was just my impression. I don't know that for sure. Yeah. That was just my impression. He's a Horadrim because he's got the satchel, he's got the scrolls. He had many scrolls in there. So I was like, ooh. And then he can read the stuff. and they get the door open, they get in there, and then it ain't what they think it is.
No, I don't know who that other guy was either. The
Oh yeah, when he turned around,
yeah, the
I was
guy
like,
that
"What the hell is that?"
basically was, making that other guy read the stuff. Like, I don't know who that guy was.
Yeah,
Some people were saying it was Rathma. I don't know.
yeah, I wasn't sure. We need like in game, it's got the little text above the people's names.
Yeah,
We need that. Huh. I mean, I immediately knew who Lilith was.
yeah.
I knew that. Uh, but
I
whoo, I was very excited about that cinematic. Very good.
I can picture, since supposedly the heaven shut their gates and went, screw you guys, we're going home. And I could I don't know, because some people are saying that like Anarius like doesn't care about the Nephilim and stuff like that. But I could picture in an expansion Anarius coming back and playing a big role, and he obviously hates Lilith, so what's a
Yeah.
better way to, other than just take her down?
What are your thoughts on the Lilith?
I thought it
Like,
was,
is she gonna be the bad guy? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
yeah, I would assume she'd have to be the bad guy of the thing. But I don't know. I don't know how many bosses they're planning on having. Apparently, it's not going to be an axe. So, first Diablo game without axe. Um,
Yeah. Well, my thoughts on that was like she's she created Sanctuary.
her and Anarius, yeah.
Yeah, she created Sanctuary.
Mm.
I don't know why we would be after her. I don't know why she's back. It's weird. I don't know why she's back. I don't know if it's a, it's kind of like I don't know. It's a weird. You remember like when they had that World of Warcraft expansion that didn't have a bad guy, like Pandaria. Was
Oh
it
yeah,
Pandaria? They didn't have a bad guy, and then they just threw one on there at the end. Like because before, like you knew like Burning Crusade, like Illidan was, and then Wrath of the Lich King, we're looking for the Lich King, and then Cataclysm, we're looking for Deathwing, and then all of a sudden they were like, we're not gonna have a bad guy. It's kind of like what I was thinking of, like, because like Lilith doesn't really strike me. I mean, she is the daughter of Mephisto, the Lord of Hatred, right? Mephisto's hatred.
uh,
Dang, we need Jin in here. I believe Mephisto is the Lord of Hatred. If I'm wrong on that, sorry guys. I'm not a big lore. I like lore, but I'm not a huge lore guy. Uh, Jin would know all about that. Oh, we're gonna run the Google machine.
yeah. Lord of Hatred. Yep.
Oh shit! Greg gets $100. Damn, or 100 points. Sorry, I always think in dollars. Hey, if that was Final Jeopardy, I'd have won. Thank you, Alex.
Second one said Lord of Death, but I know that's wrong. That's Malthael.
He's the Archangel of Death.
Yeah, what a same thing.
Ah. So anyway, she is the daughter of. She's a direct descendant of a prime evil. So I don't know. I'm kind of back and forth on that. Whether she's going to be the bad guy or the bad chick. I don't know what you want. A bad woman. I don't know what you want to call her. I don't know. I'm calling her the bad guy. I don't know. I don't know if she's the bad guy or I don't know. It's weird. We're gonna have to get into the story. Um. So anyway, obviously, they announced D4. Um. So it's like it's a top-down isometric open world action role-playing game. Very, very dark. Especially if you see the cinematic, you'll really get into kind of like the style of the game type. I recommend going on YouTube because the opening ceremony was free to watch. You can watch the opening ceremony, and I'm sure on YouTube you can find plenty of videos, gameplay, uh, and also some of the panels are on there on YouTube, so y'all can check that stuff out if you didn't get the virtual ticket and didn't get to see it for you, right, right as it was going on. Um, so what do you think, brother? Isometric, top down, classic isometric. What are you thinking?
If and I'm gonna throw this out there too. If you guys want more information about this game than um, what these panels at the BlizzCon that you can see, and you don't want to pay any money to see them, Quinn69 on Twitch, he did a stream and a dev came up, which was I can't remember which dev came up, but he talked and they talked for, I think it was a half hour. So there's that one. And right after that, Riker did a stream, and he did it with the main guy, the Asian guy that came from StarCraft 2. They did like a half hour, 45-minute interview. And you can find all them videos at, the respected Twitch channels. But I would highly recommend watching them if you guys really, really want more information. Because, like, right after BlizzCon, like, I knew, it's like 7 o'clock. Quinn was going to be streaming, so I watched Quinn's stream. And then right after that, I knew it was Riker. So I just waited and refreshed it and everything and watched Riker's. And I sat there and watched like all this stuff. And then, I had to watch the StarCraft finale at 1 o'clock in the morning. But, yeah, it went on until after 2. And I'm like, oh, man, it's 2 o'clock in the morning and StarCraft's finally over.
Yeah, but did you change your clock before or after you went to bed?
That was Friday, though.
Oh, Friday. Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, my bad. I was thinking, yeah, you're right. Friday, Saturday, right?
So, yeah, the isometric open world action role playing game. That's what I want to hear. Very dark. Every time that you go to, I think it was, it might have been, I can't remember, but it was on one of the Blizzard sites. And if you wanted to watch the cinematic thing, you had to put in your age. So it's not gonna be for little kids.
Yeah, this is very gory. It's they're bringing the pain on this one. It's gory. It's there's a lot of like um, I don't know. Would you call it demonology? I don't know if you call it demonology or not. Like a lot of demonic symbols. There's a lot of evil looking. You can tell that the world's been tore apart.
Yeah.
By the way, I love the way it looks. I was watching some of the streams like you were talking about, and like they're walking through like where the trees are at, and I just got to talk about it real quick. I was watching Riker, maybe Bloodshed, one of them. I don't even remember. I watched so many, but they came up to this cliff, and their character like scaled straight up. I was like, oh snap! Like, oh what? Oh, your character can climb shit? I didn't know that. Oh, what? Oh, I like that. I don't know. It seems like a very fun game to explore in. So, um, the game map is huge. This thing is huge. What they had at BlizzCon was one area. It was huge. I don't know if you seen like Riker was showing like how big the map was.
Yeah.
This is a very big game, so I'm happy about that. We can get into like what the game modes, like what we know so far. So obviously there's solo. You can play solo. You ain't got to play with nobody. There's obviously groups. You can group up to 4. There's PvP. They're gonna start right with PvP. You know, like D3, right? They were saying, later on in patch 1.2, we're gonna have PvP. They never did it. I really never understood why they didn't do it. I don't know if it was like I don't know, but they're gonna start right off with PvP. I know a lot of people are gonna be happy about that. I'm not a big PvP fan.
Here's why they don't do PvP in Diablo 3. Ready? Take a Chantoto wizard and put him with a witch doctor and see who wins.
Well, all right. Well,
yeah.
Well, we'll talk about that in a minute because I would say the witch doctor now.
Yeah.
As of the next patch, the witch doctor. But anyway, we'll get into that in a little bit. But there's an open world mode, which you heard us talk about, isometric open world action RPG. So the world is shared. So basically, you start off in a solo campaign mode, and once you complete objectives of the campaign, then those parts of the world become shared, and you can find people in the world that are not in your group running around. Particularly in towns, just in open world too, not just in towns. There's 5 regions. There's weather. There's a day and night cycle in the game. The campaign is like a non-linear, so you don't have to go to Act 1 and then Act 2 and then Act 3 and then Act 4. It's more like an adventure mode type thing where you can just jump around and do whatever you want to do. Although, I don't know how they're going to tell the story if you jump around a bunch. I think personally, I think the first time I ever do it, I think I'm going to go from A to Z to get the lore and get the story down like we always do. And then I'll probably do a bunch of jumping around, this and that and the other. You got anything to add on open world, PvP, group, solo, campaigns?
The only thing that I felt like that was kind of weird with the campaign, and granted, this was just a demo, but like you see parts of the map where there was like level 20 guys, and then you venture down to the bottom right. And then there was like level 20, 23 or 25 people down there.
Yeah, in that dungeon. Yeah.
So I'm assuming that certain areas, unlike Diablo 3, that certain areas of this map and certain regions are going to be certain levels. It's not going to be you walk out of, Tristram, you kill a couple people, you ding a couple levels, and they keep going up in level with you. That doesn't appear like it's going to happen in this game.
Well, if you look on the demo, and I know that maybe our fans hadn't seen the demo, but everybody in the demo was like 20.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why, and they wanted some of the difficulty, they wanted some of the they wanted some of the content to be easier, and they wanted some of it to be more difficult. So I think like when you level up, I think that stuff kind of levels up too, because they said it was a non-linear. So like you could go to zone 1, for example, when you're level 1, or you could go to zone 5, and then later when you're level 30, go back to zone 1. And it wouldn't make no sense if they were all level 1s over there.
Correct. Yeah, you're right.
So I think that it's kind of like how Warcraft has done it, where when you go back, even if you go back to the old world stuff. Sorry about that. Anyway, like if you go back to an old zone, everything kind of is your level. I don't know what they call that. Do you know what they call that in WoW? They have a name for that.
I do not.
Sorry, my brain ain't. I'm thinking more about this. But anyway, that's kind of my thoughts on that. I could be wrong. That's just what I was thinking when that was going on, because they had these different events that was going on. Anyway, so that's what was that. Since we've already talked about dungeons, we'll get into it. Dungeons. So there's hundreds of dungeons in the game. The dungeons are seamless exploration, is what they call them. So what that means is no loading screens between levels. So you know how what we have in D3, like you're going through a level and you get like say 40% progression on the bar, and you need to get 60 more percent. So you end up going to level 2, and there's like a loading screen, and you got to wait for a minute, and sometimes your buffs drop off, or if you're playing a demon hunter, your sentries are gone, or in season 19 your dang kill streak will be gone.
Yeah.
So this is seamless, where it just keeps. And he did say that like even if you're in a cave, you can walk out of the cave into a woods area, or maybe you'll find an entrance to a building type area, because these dungeons can be inside, outside. They can be caves. They can be. Although I wish they'd drop that whole cave thing, because I'm not a big fan of caves in Diablo 3 cave maps. I'm not a big cave map guy. Although I guess something for everybody, right? There's got to be one fan out there that's like, cave, yes, another cave map. That's not me. But, let's say you're doing like a keeps level 3 type map, that map. And then you get to the end, it can walk out onto a big drawbridge and then, to an open field or something. And it's all seamless. You don't have to wait. I like that. I've never particularly liked the loading screens because, especially if you have internet problems or if you have computer problems, I always seem to have a little bit longer loading screen, especially than Shazam, because Shazam has really, really good internet. So I know when I play with Shazam, me and him will both, especially at the beginning of the rift, for example, me and you both click the thing at the same time, and you are off fighting when I get to the rift. I don't know if you've ever noticed that.
I noticed it on a lot of people, yeah.
Yeah. But it's just like, I mean, I guess that won't be, because you'll still have a loading screen at the first, I guess. I would assume. But once you get in the dungeon and get set, you're good to go. And you don't have to have, because sometimes you end up going to 4 or 5 different levels or whatever. I know, I like that. That's a great change. I'm happy about that. Something else they were saying: random events and dungeon objectives. When you're going through the open world and or dungeons, there could be random events. He gave some examples. He was saying like a big creature tears through a farm, like if you're out in the open world, and that kind of reminds me of like kind of like those quests where you like for example you find that guy and there's that farm and he's like, help me, and then there's like the big nest and they're throwing those. That was a horrible example because I can't remember any of the names, but you know what I'm talking about, right? Where the farm in the Fields of Misery. That's what that kind of reminds me of. Only like a way more advanced version of it.
The crazy guy.
Yeah. And he's talking to his wife, and she's like,
dead.
Yeah, she's dead. She's a skeleton. But yeah. Anyway, like kind of like, but they did say that random events can happen anytime during a dungeon, even while you're fighting the boss. Which I was like, ooh, like give you a little extra. I don't know. It could piss me off, right? That could be a bad thing, but especially hardcore. Think about that hardcore. Like you're raffle stomping a dungeon, and all of a sudden you get killed because. Well, anyway, so random events, dungeon objectives, I thought were pretty cool. What this reminded me of is kind of like bounties, where like you go into the Fields of Misery, for example, and you got to kill a boss, and then you got to kill 100 enemies. That would be an example of an objective, but this is like specific for dungeons. So when you get into a dungeon, maybe one of your objectives would be kill everything in the dungeon, every enemy. That was one of the examples they gave. And they did say if you passed the dungeon objective, it would make the boss harder and you would get better loot. I'm kind of jumping around a little bit, Shazam, on this, but the loot, they were saying that, in D3, like you just kill stuff and loot just rains from the sky. We all know, like, especially when you get up into higher, greater rifts, there's no loot until you hit the boss, but everybody knows, like, if you kill, like, let's say a level 10 Rift Guardian, and if you kill a level 100 Rift Guardian, there's a big difference in the amount of loot that hits the ground. But it doesn't necessarily mean, just because you killed 100 doesn't mean that you're going to get better stuff than when you killed the 10. You could still get something off of that level 10 Guardian. And they're saying that the difficulty is going to scale up the quality of your loot. So you'll have a better chance to get higher quality loot with the harder objectives. I like that. I've always thought that it was weird that you break your neck getting past a 100, and there's a lot of loot. There's 12 items on the ground there, and at some point it's almost kind of like you pick it up and you already know what everything is without identifying it, because we've identified 4.5 billion legendaries at this point, and you pretty much know that there's nothing there for you. You're like, okay, I'm only looking for a shield, for example, and there's no shields here, so it doesn't matter. You take it to town, you hit the Book of Cain, ID everything, and then you DE everything and move on. That's kind of how the game D3 goes, but it just seems like with harder difficulties going to come better loot. You have any ideas? You have any thoughts on that? Ideas on that?
Going back to the dungeons, I don't know, like, when you want to talk about this, when you don't want to talk about it.
Anytime.
But let's say you hit max level, which I think is 40 at this point in time. There's going to be dungeon keys that drop throughout the world, and this is only, they say, one of a few, I don't know how many they said, but one of more than one.
He said many. One of many is what he said.
End game things that, okay, it's got, basically, if anybody played WoW, anybody knows what a mythic keystone is. It's going to drop for a specific dungeon at a specific, enhancement, and it's going to have, like, all the monsters in here have more health, or all the monsters in here, basically have vampiric and just, suck the life out of you. And gain
or double monsters.
Yeah, or double monsters, stuff like that. So that's one of the end game things, which is essentially kind of like a greater rift. Or
Yeah, it's kind of like a mythic dungeon in World of Warcraft, which I found hilarious because they took that from Diablo, and
or what
and we're stealing it back. We're stealing it back from WoW.
or what people are calling the map system from PoE. It's very similar. Um, but yeah, I, I've, I've, the whole itemization thing. I find it weird that they couldn't keep the name Primal as the top. They went
Yeah,
with
we can talk about that if you want. Yeah, if you want to go over loot, we can go over that.
they went with a more, I want to say, wowified name.
Yeah, I know. I thought that was really weird. Like, why? You had a whole system set. Why didn't you just keep it? I don't understand. And I didn't understand like why they had that graphic.
What do you mean?
Well, when they were doing the loot thing, they had this graphic where it was like whites, then blues, then yellows,
Yeah, I seen it.
legendaries and sets, ancient
Yeah,
legendaries and ancient sets, and then mythic gear at the end. Like,
yeah.
why did you have that? No one here, no one watching needed that graphic, bro. Like, we already know and understand. If it was like some completely wildly new loot system, we didn't need that graphic. I mean, I guess, right? It's in their slideshow deck. I don't know. I didn't. I was just looking at it like, and I thought it was weird that they put the sets and the legendaries together, and then they put the ancient and the ancient sets together. Because, I mean, I guess it was supposed to be a demonstration of these things are equal.
No, it was. They had the sets on the bottom.
Yeah, well, okay, but I was like, these things are equal, but the sets are slightly under. You know, um, I we'll talk about the loot. They're so there's sets in the game. Although they did say that they want to put way more power into the regular legendaries, and they want people to have their own build and their own class or customization. They want you to, like, if you love fireballs, then get a bunch of things that augment the fireballs. Like your fireballs now shoot 3, they explode on contact, or when you hit a thing with the fireball, it stuns it, or when you shoot something with the fireballs, it minions grab it from the ground and hold it down or something, or whatever. They want you to augment your skills with your legendaries and not sets. uh, I think that they went way too far with sets in Diablo 3, and I think they're trying to rein that back in. And and just, I don't know. I don't hate it. I mean, I'm a big fan of sets. I do like the sets in Diablo 3. If we didn't have sets, I don't think I'd cry about it. I mean, it's kind of like the Legacy of Dreams, right? You figure out a new way to set your build, and then that's what you're looking for.
It's
So
it's a different loot system though.
yeah,
Like
I don't hate it.
like right now, sets. Let's take multi shot for example because I know multi shot. It buffs multi shot for however much discipline you have multiplied by 350 per point of discipline that you have. Um, they don't do percentages anymore. They're not doing this. This item buffs this skill by 500%. They're not doing anything like that. It's essentially, honestly, being completely back to Diablo 2, where if you put a Stone of Jordan if you wear one, it's going to give you +1 to all your skills. You know, or whatever. I can't remember what the stone joined in, but I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure that's what
Plus
it
one
did.
to skills. Yeah. Plus one to skills.
Um, like everything, it's all going to be plus and a number to this skill, plus a number to that skill, plus a number to all the skills, or plus a number to your talent tree. Whatever is in your talent tree.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
yeah, there's no more plus 500% or plus 75,000 if you're an Impel Demon Hunter.
yeah.
Um,
I think they want to rein the numbers down.
well, it's a lot easier to balance with PvP too, because you don't have
Yeah.
to worry about a percentage. At least what it seems like.
Well, another thing that they have world bosses. So I know we kind of got out of kilter on that one, but it's I want to talk about world bosses for a second because that's something new to the world of Diablo. Um, so basically, periodically there'll be a world boss appear on the map, and you'll get a call, like a call to arms, and you can have up to 100 players come fight a giant boss. I guess there's going to be a bunch of world bosses, but they had one at BlizzCon. It kind of looked cool. It looked like kind of like a bird. I don't remember the name of the dang thing. It was a boss. Y'all can look the videos up. They're in all the videos. But anyway, so while you're fighting this boss, it kind of zooms your camera way out, and you can see like the whole battlefield. There's lots of people there. Everybody's doing their moves, and they have like a weird mechanic called. You remember what it's called? The bar under the health bar.
Stagger meter.
Stagger. Thank you. I couldn't think of it. I knew it was an S. So they have stagger, and so basically, when you hit the boss with the crowd controlling effect, like whatever stun or freeze or something, it gets a percentage of stagger, and when it hits 100% stagger, then like one of his arms get broke off, and he's less effective during the rest of the battle. And you can stagger him more than once in the battle, and the encounter will become easier because he's not doing these big, sweet attacks that's killing a lot of people. So, I mean, yeah, it to me that's like I love it. I was looking at it, and again, a world boss is something very difficult to kill, so you'll get very good loot from it, in my opinion. I mean, I could be wrong about that, but I don't know. I thought it looked really cool. He this monster comes out of the ground. He looks like a big bird. He's got these giant, I don't know, things off of his arm, and he's doing like these big attacks, and he's throwing poison everywhere, and I don't know. It was cool. It looked really dangerous. There was a lot of people getting jacked. For hardcore, that would be. Although also there's hardcore, so you can play hardcore. I did think it was funny when he was like, "Of course there's hardcore. Hardcore, that's a staple of every Diablo game, and there's no hardcore in Immortal." So I kind of thought that was funny. But okay, whatever. I guess you can take a shot at Immortal if you want. But yeah, I don't know. World bosses, man. I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
So what are we fighting these world bosses with? So there's 5 classes in this game. 3 were announced. So there's the sorceress, the barbarian, and the druid. They have 2 more that they're going to put before release. We have our theories on what they're going to be. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But the sorceress, right? You want to talk about the sorceress?
Yeah. It, basically, at least the demo it showed, that's like the most fleshed out class that they have right now. Like based on the talent tree, there's like 6 options at the bottom. You know, whichever path you want to take, going down talent tree, 6 options at the bottom. Um, this is going to be the elemental class. It's going to be, like the fire, the lightning, you know, stuff like that. The this the what I found that seemed like pretty badass about it was they had like a freaking knife, like that ice knife thing that went around and it just like
Oh
murdered
yeah,
everything on the map.
I thought it was more of an Archon
Yeah, and
skill.
like like the ultimate thing was kind of like the Archon thing where you could literally, um, I think,
Oh, the static charge.
yeah, I think Quinn kept doing the like the dodge thing, and he just kept going further and further and just murking more and more people. And he's like, they're gonna nerf this before a launch, because your people are they're gonna use this for offensive, not defensive, and whatever it. I find another class that it's going to be a little bit more overpower at launch than the sorceress, but yeah, that's the one that lights up. Like you can definitely tell when you have a sorceress because
It's a light
that's
show.
yeah, it's basically essentially a light show because that's the only way you get light in a dungeon is the sorceress. Every time I've seen somebody play one, it's like the whole place is lit up.
My favorite out of these three, definitely the druid. Um, and these classes look real sorcery, or they look like you don't need an introduction to these classes. When you see them, you're like, oh, that's the druid.
Yeah,
That over there's the barbarian. This is the sorceress. Like the druid has this these giant antlers, like 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 I don't know. Would you call them moose antlers?
yeah,
They're kind of like moose antlers, and it's the mechanic behind the druid is depending on what move you utilize, he changes into the shift shaping into the forms. The werebear and the werewolf and the human form, and he does it all seamlessly. It's not like you don't have to. Hey, I want to be into the bear. You don't push a button like, hey, I want to be a bear right now, and then start doing bear attacks. You just push the attack, and he's just boom, and he's a bear, and he's just raw, and there's like this crazy charge. The bear has this crazy charge, and it's like and one thing I thought was crazy was like I seen him getting damaged, and he had this cut on his shoulder, and when he turned into a bear, it was still a cut on the bear's shoulder. He has a move called Cataclysm, and it's like these tornadoes and lightning bolts everywhere. This guy's like a lot of earth type damage, storm and earth damages, and shape shifting is his thing. Um, the bear. Oh my god, I love it. It looks so awesome. It just sounds so mean. He's like, "Rah!" And it does a pounce, and I was like, oh, I really like this. This is awesome. The barbarian is just what you think a barbarian's gonna be. Whirlwindy, leapy, master of all weapons. Um, he has 4 weapon slots. All the other ones don't have that. He's the only one with 4.
yeah.
So there's a theory that he's going to be the best PvP because 2 extra legendaries, like he'll have more power. So,
He runs on like I think they called it the Arsenal system, where you have two two-handers and two one-handers,
Yeah.
and based on the attacks that you do, it's based on that is what.
What
Okay,
weapon he
let's
uses.
let's say you do one attack, he's going to use one weapon, and let's say you do another one of attack, he's going to grab different weapons and use them instead of the weapons he was just using.
And he's not clumsy about it either. He does it
Uh,
pretty nice. The animations look great. The golf swing is pretty funny. I don't know if you've seen Riker calling it the
yeah,
golf swing. The golf swing looked pretty cool. He does use the big two-hander. Rah! It's I don't know. I did like the classes. I like the three classes. My favorite's the druid.
yeah,
Is that your favorite?
yeah. Everybody,
Um,
everybody seemed to be pretty unanimous about the druid too.
well,
They're
it's
like,
coming back. It's a crowd favorite, right? And it looks so, boy, they really put the polish on it. Um, Now, as far as the moves go, I did notice that the sorceress had more skills available during the demo, and the sorceress had more. So maybe they've been working on the sorceress longer, but man, they put the polish on that druid. I love the horns. I love the shift shaping. I love the tornadoes. Oh, by the way, he also has two wolves with him. I forgot to
uh,
mention that. And you can do like a wolf attack, and the wolves will come charge and start biting your enemies. And as a mailman, I know two dogs biting you on the rear end is it's terrifying. So, just saying. There's two more classes not yet announced. Although there's a theory. I heard this from Leviathan. Leviathan was talking about it, and Shazam was the one that told me about it, and then I went and listened to it. So basically, what Leviathan was saying was there's 5 zones in the game, and there's 5 classes. Um, the sorceress comes from one of those zones. The druid comes from another one of those zones. The barbarian comes from another one of those zones. And the only 2 zones not covered are the zone that the necromancer comes from and the zone that there was some theory going around about maybe a demon hunter or um, a mage, but I don't think it makes any sense that the mage would be here because the sorceress, and I don't think they're gonna have a game with the sorceress and a mage. So I think it's more realistic that they would have the demon hunter. I know that you were talking about it a little bit. I'll let you talk about it.
I don't think that they would have a demon hunter because they have the druid. You
Yeah,
know,
but I mean the demon hunter he's a bow class. He's a ranged bow class weapons. I mean, the druid, it seems more melee. It seems more shift shapedy, earth magic with pets.
when I read these class names, none of them say Diablo 3 to me. None of them. Sorceress. There's no sorceress in Diablo 3. There's a wizard. Diablo 3 does not have a druid. Diablo 3 does have a barbarian.
Yeah, but
That's it.
Diablo 3 could have a druid. They just didn't put it in there.
Um, so, if I was to speculate, I would say an Amazon would be one of them classes.
They could be. You could be correct. They could have Amazon instead of the demon hunter.
An Amazon or an assassin, but I would lean more towards an Amazon at this point because we haven't had one of them in a long time, and there's a
Eh,
lot of people that want the bow and arrow, and a lot of people that want to throw freaking spears at a whole bunch of stuff. You know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be mad at the Amazon. I wouldn't be mad at the demon hunter. I think that the other one is most likely going to be the necromancer, though.
Yeah, I would. The amount of people that wanted that in Diablo 3.
And the amount of money they made when they put the necro pack out, and the amount of insanity when they announced it at BlizzCon. Um, I don't know. It just seems like, Barbarian is real Diablo. The
Mm-hmm.
Barbarian is it. That's so Diablo, right? And the Necro is so Diablo. So I think, it's kind of like and the Sorceress is like, it's like D2 kind. You know what I mean? And this game looks a lot like D2. And I think, and I'll go ahead and say here that I think that some of the leaked videos where people were saying we're getting a Diablo 2 remastered, I almost think that they might have seen parts of that film and thought, oh, D2. They never thought that would be what D4 was.
I don't know.
Anyway, just my theory. Um, so some of the systems that we haven't covered yet, room words. You want to go over room words, or you want me to do it, or?
Um, Rune words basically there's two parts of a rune word. There's not like it's not elaborate like Diablo 2 is. It's basically just an example. Like it'll say like one of them will say on critical hit, and then the other one would say, gain X amount of something. Or when you use a potion, get something else out of it. And you add one of each, together on an item, and boom, there's your rune word, and there's your power or whatever.
I think of it as a cause and effect rune.
Correct, yeah.
That's kind of what I think of it as.
I
Like,
think
the cause would be use a potion. The effect would be like every time you use a potion, the effect would be you get a trap underneath an enemy.
I, again, sure seems real similar to a PoE, certain skills in a PoE setting.
Yeah, well, you know what? I
Um,
like this. I like this better than um, the current gems we have, and I equate this to gems because you sock it in like into your chest piece or whatever. So I kind of think of these as somewhat kind of like gems. Um, like, oh, I'm gonna get more strength, or I'm gonna get more intellect, or I'm gonna get more dexterity, or I'm gonna put diamonds for all resist. It's kind of boring because like everybody puts the same thing in their chest piece, kind of. And your weapon always gets a critical hit strike, right? So it could be interesting. Um, I think that they could go hog wild on that system. Like they could, let's say that, and this isn't anything anybody said, but I was just thinking about it, right? Like, um, maybe you could do two causes and one effect, right? Like, um, if you use a potion or if you use the leap. If you leap or use a potion, then this effect would happen. Like multiple ways to do one effect, or you could do like one effect, two causes. Like every time I leap, the enemies get stunned, and I send a fireball out, or I critical hit. That could be. They could do a lot with that system. Right now, it's like I think it's one cause, one effect. I think that they could really get in there and make it more complex, more where you could get more variety, more customization. Um, the next thing I think we should talk about is the skills. I know we've been talking about skills and skill trees, talent trees, but the skills. So each skills, they said you cannot reset the skills at all on your character. So you get skill points through leveling up, and they said you could find like tomes of skill points on the ground, or through killing enemies you could get skill points. So you might kill an enemy and get one skill point, and so basically he said the skill points are utilized to either buy they're used to either buy skills or modify your skills. So like if you're a wizard, you could buy that frozen orb. You could buy the frozen orb, or if you already had the frozen orb, you could make it to where maybe you get 2 frozen orbs when you shoot it out, or the frozen orb crits every third chance or something. So anyway, I think they were saying this each skill can be leveled up 5 times. I think that's what he was saying. Um, anyway, I thought it was a cool system. I didn't hate it at all. I kind of liked it. The way it looked in the UI, I think could use a little help, but it's an very early demo, So I think when they flushed it out more and they work on UI more, I think it'll be better. I did like it. You want to go over talent trees? Since you seem to have a bone to pick with that. I left it for you anyway.
Talent trees just, to me, they don't seem to be. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but they're not very in depth. At least some of them didn't seem to be that way. And you basically got 2 choices: pick this choice or pick this choice. Then the next one's going to be pick this choice or pick this choice. I don't know. It doesn't. It's like they took the skills that used to be on a talent tree, stuck them in their own system, and made a different thing that's called a talent tree that basically just adds effects, kind of like what do they call in Diablo 3 now? Like you pick a skill, the thing underneath it. I can't think of it.
The runes. No. God dang. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Jesus
anyway,
Christ. We're idiots. Sorry.
So I can't think right now. But yeah, that's what it seems like it's on there, or like you get 10% more health or something like that. To me, it doesn't seem to be like in depth. Like, yes, you can make your again going to a wizard because this is what I've seen on whenever they were doing the demo. Instead of your teleport just teleporting you to an area, your teleport can now either teleport you to a different area and throw like something out, or you can just repeatedly do it and just go in random spots. That I don't know. We'll see. Again, it's still very very early, and yeah.
The one thing I did like about the talent trees was they were individual to each class.
Yes.
For example, again, the sorceress, you could go into the fire section, or you could go into the ice section, or you could go into the lightning section and modify those type of skills, like your fire skills or your lightning skills or your, you know, the druids seem to be kind of only 2 different things, and the barbarian kind of seemed like it went down and then kind of split off at the bottom. And I was like, it seemed like the barbarian had way less choice to me. And like, he did have 4 things at the bottom that you could choose from, and you could only choose one of those, I think. I don't know. I did think that it wasn't complex, but when you add up the talent tree, the skills, the rune words, like, the legendaries augmenting your stuff, I think it's a system like put all together You know what I mean? It's kind of like it is one system. The talent tree is one system, but it's a system working with other systems to make a complex thing.
Yeah.
Now, I know that it could be more complex, and maybe in later versions of the game it will be. I don't know. I wasn't hating it.
We're,
Um,
we're all just used to, like, doesn't Wolfson have the one that
yeah,
turns?
the Gates of Fate.
Yeah, it's got like you could pick some and then turn like certain parts of it
Yeah,
and pick like there's like seems to be like a ton of options there, and then you go to like the complete like blow your mind and like make you want to just like not want to play the game. You go to the PoE one where it's just like it's bigger than two your it's probably bigger than probably six monitors put together, and it's just like freaking huge. And then everybody, obviously that's the same talent tree that everybody else picks from. Every other class, every other build, everything picks from that tree. But like that thing is freaking huge. And then you got Diablo 4s that's just like, okay, pick one of these and then go all the way down and then you're done.
yeah,
That just
I mean,
it's
I
just
understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, but it's just like I don't know. To me, I looked at it as one system in a group of systems.
yeah.
I mean, if they only had talent trees, then I would be like, oh my god, this is ridiculous. This is yeah, but talent trees. They got skills, rune words. They got freaking legendaries. They got all this stuff modifying everything, and all together it makes up like one thing. So I don't know. I didn't hate it, although I didn't play it either. So
Yeah.
uh, anyway, uh, I guess moving on from that, the gearing, hundreds of legendaries in the game. Uh, One of the legendaries I seen was the Stone and Jordan, which I thought was cool that they brought that back. And it did the original old school thing. It gave you 1 point to each skill that you had. So, uh, it modified same thing. It gives you some more of your skills, which I thought was cool. Another legendary I seen was like the one for the druid. It was a staff, and it like every time you ship shape. I can't talk today. Shape shift. Sorry, my tongue is like not wanting to cooperate. But every time you change forms, you get a lightning trap, and it looked cool. So anyway, there's just um, we kind of went into the gearing already, where we were talking about the different levels of gear. It's basically exactly the same thing as what we're used to: white, blue, yellow, legendaries and sets. Although they were saying sets are modestly below legendaries, and then you have the ancients and the ancient sets, same order. And then instead of primal, they chose to call them mythics. And they did say that you could only wear one mythic piece. And the
Oh,
mythics looked really cool to me. It's they have four ancient effects, ancient legendary effects, which I thought was cool. And I think each mythic is focused on one thing, like Fireball, for example. And this mythic piece is gonna augment your Fireball spell in 4 different ways. I thought it could be powerful, and they may change some of that stuff around. Um, but we kind of covered the gearing. You kind of went over the keystones already.
yeah.
Is there anything else we need to say about keystones?
Not really.
Uh, I guess I should have put this up top, the elite mob thing. Uh, while you're in a dungeon, of course, there's elites. Although they're doing it a little different. Right now in D3, you kind of you either farm for you either kill everything or you farm elites or you do a mix of both, right? Um, and and I don't think you can farm for elites in this game. I think they spawn and then you know I it seemed like it was different to me. It didn't seem like there would just be elites hanging out on the map. It seemed like they came after you. And he even said that elites could attack you while you were fighting a boss, which I thought, I mean, if you're in a regular rift and you're fighting a rift guardian, you can end up fighting a rift guardian and an elite at the same time. So that's not a new idea. But I don't know. The monster family thing is interesting. I don't know if you want to go over monster family stuff or
The way that they said it in the panel was, uh, I'll just use the skeletons for example because that's the one
yeah,
that pops in my mind the most.
me too.
Like you're fighting, they said you got to pick basically between, okay, you walk into a room and you got skeletons that are attacking you, but you can't see that, that there's skeletal archers throwing arrows at you. But they said that, okay, let's say that these monsters are smarter than your average monsters, where they're going to take, let's say, two or three of them, and they're gonna bring up like this big giant bow and arrow, and there's like four of them guys in the room, and they're gonna shoot big arrows at you, ballistas, and you got to figure out, you got to, quickly think, which monsters am I going to kill first? Am I going to kill the ballistas, the people that are attacking me currently, or the archers that are shooting me? And so the more skeletons, or the more fallen, or the more anything that you have together, the smarter they become, and the harder they're going to become, because they're going to have certain different attacks that they're going to be able to do as a family of monsters together, which to me that seemed pretty awesome.
Yeah, I thought it was very interesting.
Yeah.
One of the things that I thought was cool was each part of the family, each member of the family, would be doing a different job. Like he was saying, one may have a shield and they're shield bashing you and stunning you. Another one would have maybe a two-handed axe and he'd be hitting you with a two-handed axe. And you're getting stunned and shot at from the ballista and the archers. And if you're stunned, they're probably more likely to hit you. So, I mean, do you go after the ballista while you're getting stunned, or do you kill the guys who's stunning you first and then go after the ballista? It's kind of like it's not I don't think it's a straightforward type thing, because I think it's and or, like, if this, then that. It's kind of like, almost kind of like a programming thing. You know what I mean? I thought it was super cool because it's in Diablo now. You enter the dungeon and you're like, oh, zombies, cool. You kind of already know what you're doing. I'm gonna group these zombies up and kill them. All right, nice. You know, um, or the thing that we always say, like, you get, shit, balls in the face. Damn it, I was having such a good rift until you know, I think this is more. It's almost like more AI in the in with the monsters. I really liked it. Now, I want to talk about one of the fan favorite systems, trading. Damn, you can trade in this game. So how this works is, out in the world or in town or whatever, you can trade, and you can't trade everything, but some stuff you can trade all the time. You can trade it 100 times. It doesn't matter. It can be passed from person to person to person. Some stuff can only be traded one time. Like, I get a cool bow and I use it for a long time, and then I get an upgrade, and I go, "Hey Shazam, is your bow better than this?"
I'd
And
be
he
like,
goes,
yeah, I played more than you did.
and he'll go, "No, man, my bow sucks. Let me see that bow. Oh, that bow's better, thanks." And then I give it to him, but he can no longer trade that. That's soul bound to him. It's a one trade only. Some things that cannot be traded at all. Um, I think this is a great improvement over what we have now, because even the stupid gems we have can't be traded. And
Yeah.
I always thought, like, if my buddy is playing a barbarian and I'm playing a witch doctor, why can't I give him my damn strength gems, and why can't he give me my intellect gems? Like, why can't we just make a little trade? Like, hey, here's some strength gems for some intellect gem. Like, especially if we're in the same guild or whatever, or clan, whatever. It never made any sense to me. I understand. I guess it's because like they didn't want um, like people selling on third party sites, that kind of thing. Um, no, the trading, it's a fan favorite. I'm happy that it's back. The next thing that I thought it was super cool, clans. So clans are coming into the game. Um, they also have clan banks um, and clan crafting. So the bank thing is cool because like again with the trading thing, um, let's say again with that example, I pick up this bow and I'm like, oh hey Shazam, check this bow out, man. And he's like, that bow sucks. My bow's way better. Well, I can still put that bow in the clan bank, and somebody else in the clan can go, oh shit, there's a freaking bow in here that's better than mine. They can take it, and then of course that bow's been traded once, so then they can't trade it to nobody else. So the bank thing is cool. I thought that was super cool. The clan crafting I think is very interesting. They want to lean really heavy in crafting, and the clan crafting, um, members of your clan can put in maybe I'm not exactly sure what the clans will be crafting. Maybe they're gonna craft like some mega awesome thing to spawn a boss or something, and then your clan can go kill a world boss or something like. I'm not. I did. They didn't say that. That's just an idea off my head. Um, I'm not exactly sure what the hell the clan would be crafting, but you can put in these materials, and then eventually the whole clan as a group can work together to craft something. I thought that was cool. Um, you have any thoughts trading clan?
Um, Other than it's about damn time. No, not really.
We've been here at the Shattered Soulstone. We've been talking a lot about, man, they need to do something with clans because it's now it's basically just a chat window. So I'm happy about that.
The next point says no offline mode. I don't. I don't understand that. This is one thing I don't understand, and I might be a minority, or I might be the majority. I don't know. But a long time ago, companies have taken your characters off of your computer and put them on their server for a reason. And that is so you can't cheat. Because it is a competitive game like World of Warcraft and everything else. So therefore, all the stuff is on their server. So it is impossible to have an offline mode. Me, I feel that is normal. That cuts down cheating. That cuts down a lot of stuff. I don't have to have any of that memory on my computer. I don't have to worry about my computer bricking during a PTR and losing my character because it's
Yeah.
safe on Blizzard server. I don't quite get because you know darn well that if somebody's computer bricked, the first thing that they would do is storm the freaking, the forums and go, I lost my character from my hard drive. This is BS. I want it back. And Blizzard would be like, can't help you. You want it in offline mode.
Yeah. I think that the offline mode thing is something that used to happen because we just didn't have the technology. And, technology gets better. And now we have servers, and I think it's way better. I really do not care. I mean, I know people are like trying to say, oh, I want privacy. I want to play the game private.
This is why I think that people want the offline.
Yeah, they're cheating. I know.
It's the same reason that I did it back in the day. It's because you had a program that you could put your character into and put whatever item you wanted on it. Go back into the game and be like, boom, I'm done.
Let's
go play the game now.
A million mana, a million freaking health points.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. The online mode does not bother me.
It doesn't bother me either. I'm glad again because if my hard drive bricks, I don't have to worry about losing a character. It's not hardcore. It's not real life hardcore mode. It's regular softcore mode, buddy.
And you can buy a new computer and it doesn't matter.
Right.
And you can go to your buddy's house. It doesn't matter.
That's right.
Right. I don't know. The next thing that I'm super happy about is the return of treasure goblins. Ha ha! I love treasure goblins. I know it's a stupid thing. I know they really don't give you anything all that great. But every time one pops up, I love to run after them. I love to kill them. I love to get the loot. Oh, I especially love the ones that are like blood shards. Like, oh, I love blood shard goblins. I wish there was a bounty goblin that gave you bounty mats. Please, Blizzard. Bounty mats, please. I don't know. I love treasure goblins. It's cool. And if there's treasure goblins, then there's possibly the realm of greed. Maybe. They didn't say. They didn't even tell us that there was treasure goblins, but we know there's treasure goblins because Quinn69 ran into one.
Damn right he did.
Yeah.
That thing is bigger than like the ones now, and like it looks way different.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
That thing would like disappear and go like somewhere else, and Quinn would be chasing that sumbitch, and like he's like yelling, and oh, it was awesome. But he did kill it.
Yeah, I mean it's just like I mean I love it. That's such a fun. It's such a fun system. Love it. Something else. Controller support on PC. For you weirdos who own a PC, who play on PC, and want to play with a controller like Manlo, not really sure why you want to play on a controller if you have a PC, but they did say that they are fully supporting controller mode on the PC, so you can just play with your controller if that's what you want to do. Cool. Although they did say on console there will be no keyboard and mouse.
I find it very odd because that is based on the discretion of the people making the game, not the hardware people.
Well,
that's what I find weird.
I don't know. I just was like, okay. I've never been playing Diablo and thought, Jesus Christ, I wish I could get a controller in here.
I could see the only time that I could see using a controller, and it's the Microsoft one that you can use everywhere. It's for the people that are like, have this, severe disability where they're missing an arm or missing their hand or, stuff like that. Microsoft has a controller that you can buy all kinds of stuff for and make it, so you could basically use it for whatever disability you have. But I don't see any other reason to use a controller whenever everybody knows that keyboard and mouse are the superior peripherals over a controller.
Okay, I didn't think about the disability thing. Um, Maybe the controller could help somebody like Ritzy or myself who I've injured my arm and the clicking is killing me. So maybe I could, I don't know. I didn't even think of it in that terms. Yeah, I know, brother. I understand that, but that's a lot of clicking too. And it just, for me, man, the clicking, it just, my God, it's right there on the top. It just burns me up. I don't know. Um, I'm hoping that season 19, I'm going to play the Barbarian, and it's just hold down the left button and whirlwind around and kill everything. I'm hoping that will give me a long time to rest my arm, and then I can go back to clicking, hopefully. The hardcore mode, we already discussed it. It's the regular. It's exactly what you think it is. If you die, well, you're dead. That's it.
This is what I want to see out of hardcore mode, and I want to see this so bad. Like I want to see like two people that like they just hate each other, and
PvP.
they're geared to the teeth, and they just one of them's gonna die.
Yeah, I know. That could be
like,
some
throwdown, man.
That could be some great YouTube video, right? Like,
yeah.
Like Riker versus Leviathan in the hardcore match.
That'd be awesome. We could have a whole bracket because
yeah. You could do a whole.
There's no loser bracket because their characters are done.
Yeah, I don't know. You could definitely do something cool with it.
Yeah.
They talked about public events. And this is different than the random events, I would guess. I think the random events were in dungeons only, and when it's outside a dungeon, it's called a public event, but basically the same thing. And that example would be like, you're in the farm and the thing pops up, kind of like a
that bell, the bell one that they had on the demo.
Oh yeah, that was a public event. It was like this big bell, and you had to DPS the bell down. And once the bell was broken, then all these drowned people came up from the sea to attack you, and they came in waves. And then at the end, it was the boss, and you would get significantly good loot from it. Well, anyway. The next thing, I thought very weird. I don't even understand why they put it in the game, but they put in-game voice chat and party chat. We have this thing called Discord, so we pretty much don't even need that. I'll never use it, I don't think.
Yeah, probably not.
I mean, maybe the in-game voice chat for like a world boss thing, but I didn't really think that you needed to talk to a lot of people to do that kind of world boss stuff. Maybe the public events. Maybe if it's a complex public event where maybe you have to have somebody guarding a shoreline and another people guarding like a haystack, and then you have to have some other people standing on a switch, and you have to have some other people hitting a bell or something. Maybe if it's something like that, then you might need a chat. But if it was that complicated, I think I would just do it in clan, or I would just be in Discord and I'd just be doing it with my friends. That's what I think. Although people pug a lot of stuff that I don't pug. They pug bounties, they pug greater rifts, and I don't pug any of that stuff because I'd rather just play with friends or by myself. The next thing that kind of made me happy was he said that the solo play would be just as good as group play. Diablo 3, they really put a lot of emphasis in the 4-player group. You get a lot more loot, you get a lot more experience. I don't mean a lot more experience. You get a lot more everything, gold, everything. They said they're not doing that. If you're in a party with 4 players, you'll get loot. If you're by yourself, you'll get loot. The only thing I did think of is how in the heck are they going to make solo as good as 4-player? Because a 4-player group could obviously do harder content, and harder content would would mean you get better gear, right? So that's the only thing that I thought. I don't know. And the next thing, you want to cover the next thing?
Mounts. Yeah, there's gonna be mounts in the game. We don't know how we get them yet. It's still early. But they did throw an emphasis on dismounting skills and being able to gear out your mounts and stuff like that. So we'll see.
This made me very happy, by the way.
Yeah.
They had different pictures of mounts. Like one was like a fire-looking thing, and the other one was like a skeleton-looking thing, and another mount didn't have a face. He was missing his face. These were all horses, by the way. I guess I should say. And I'm not even sure if every mount will be a horse. I thought, I immediately thought, oh my God, how awesome would it be if you were playing a necromancer and you had a bone horse?
That would be.
Oh, I immediately thought of that. I mean, the necromancer is not in the game yet that we know of. I mean, I have a suspicion, but my God,
like I could, and I don't even know how they show you getting on a mount or anything like that, but I could just picture all these bones going from behind the necromancer to underneath his legs, and just turning into a horse. Literally lifting them off the ground and then just going. It's
the dismount ability could be you ride into the enemies and then the horse disassembles and turns into a bone storm.
Yeah, or corpse lance.
Yeah, corpse lance. Yeah. It could be. The one thing that they did say was the druid will not be in bear form while he's on his horse. He has to be in human form, which I thought was funny because I mean, come on, you can't let the bear ride a horse.
First thing I thought of was why can't we have the druid ride as one of his wolves? You know?
Yeah, he just jumps on one of his wolves.
Yeah.
That would be cool. I don't know, man. The sorceress dismount was cool as shit because she does this, and it's like the horse runs in, and then all of a sudden there's all these frost bolts and fire, and I don't know, it looked really cool. I'm very happy about the mounts. This is an open world game, and you have to travel from point A to point B, so it's going to be a quicker travel. I don't know if there's teleport points, although there was a town portal, so I guess that there is teleport points in the game for fast travel, but I don't know. I'm looking forward to getting on my horse and riding around, brother. That is all the bullet points I put on here. I don't know if you want to talk more about D4.
I don't have anything else that sticks out of my mind currently. That
I'll tell our fans there was many more things that we did not put on here. I was kind of writing notes as I was watching, and these are just some of the stuff that stuck out to me. There's still a lot of information. There'll be a lot more information to come about in the future. And as more information comes out, of course, we're going to cover it because we're a Diablo podcast. But we're also a Diablo 3 podcast. So we found out something, or Shazam found out something through watching these videos. He found out something about Diablo 3. So you want to go over the Diablo 3 news?
Yeah, so at Blizzcon, nobody was playing the Diablo 3 demo for obvious reasons. What do you want to play, the Diablo 3 demo, or do you want to play Diablo 4? Which one do you want to play?
I would play the Diablo 3 demo, not.
So I can't remember if it was Leviathan or one of them guys. They decided to, hey, I'm going to go over, because I know darn well that it's going to be the season 19 stuff. So they went over and played the Diablo 3 stuff, and they find out that, and I'm pretty sure that they talked to the devs about it too. I think that's where they first found out about it, with one of the meet and greets or something like that. That the two new sets that are going to be one for the Crusader, one for the Monk, they've completely, they, I don't know how to put this, they basically changed them to buff them. Um, I think and I don't know 100%. I know the 4-piece set for the Monk, they added damage reduction to it, and one of either the 4-piece or the 6-piece set. Pretty sure it's a 6-piece set of the Crusader. They added another 0 to it. So so yeah, I guess the Crusader set, they completely just got rid of the 2-piece bonus and just completely changed it to something else. Um, I don't know.
Buff the hammer did.
I don't know exactly what that is. We should find out by the end of this week what it is, because they usually have season 19 patch notes before the end of this season. The end of this season is next Sunday, which is 1 week from today we're doing this show. So yeah, we don't have too much longer to wait. I'm sure Brandy, that's one of her main objectives this week, is to, get them patch notes finished up and put out. I know last week we were speculating when the end of the season was, and then literally the next day after we do the show, they're like, "Oh, the 10th is the end of the season," and yeah, and I'm like, "Well, I'm off on that one then."
Yeah, I don't know if they'll. I don't think that they'll begin the season on the 15th.
Why not?
We still don't know when the season's going to begin.
I think if they would do it on the 15th. I don't see why they wouldn't.
I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll know more about that, and we'll be talking about it probably next show.
I would assume.
They nerfed the Barbarian, and not as bad as you think, by the way, Shazam.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because originally we thought that the belt was nerfed, but the belt had a 2-part thing on it. The belt had Ren stacks now twice, and then it also does an additional 250 to 300% damage. They removed the 250 to 300% damage. They did not remove the Ren stacks twice. I was a little bummed when we were talking about it earlier today, because I was like, what? Ah, man, they nerfed it by half. Because, like, if you can't stack it 2 times, then that's half the damage, right? Basically, I don't know if the numbers work out, but whatever. I don't think they need the additional 200 to 300%. It's fine, I think. They said that it lowers it by about 7 rift levels, is what they're saying. I'm not mad about that. It was very high anyway. It needed to come down some, and I think that that's a pretty good nerf. If you remember a couple of seasons back, they nerfed the Crusader, and everybody was kind of bummed out about it, but it turned out all right.
Yeah, the shield.
Yeah.
Captain America.
Yeah. And it turned out to be just fine. So, I don't know. I'm still going to play, I'm still going to main the Barbarian this season 19 coming up. I'm extremely excited about it. But anyway, today was a longer show. I don't want to do other media because Obviously, we've been talking about other media the whole show, so um, I guess I'll give our usual. Hey, Jen, she does this fantastic job. She edits these shows, and she does a fantastic job. She also has an additional podcast called Jen's Lore. It's called Jen's Lore Corner. I cannot talk today. You can find that at bookofjen.net. She just put out a new episode. I have not heard it yet because I've just been busy with BlizzCon and other things. I am gonna probably listen to it tomorrow at work, so I'm looking really forward to that. She does a fantastic job. Just bookofjen.net, guys. Just go there, check it out. Jen's Lore Corner. What a fantastic thing that is. She'll tell you all about the lore of the game of Diablo, and I'm sure she's going to continue that, especially now that we're going to have even more lore coming up. We got a Patreon, so if y'all like what we do, you can hit us up on Patreon. You can give us a little bit of money. I will tell you that it's November and we did not do an October episode. I'm just going to take it to the face. That was my fault. We will do 2 episodes this month and get them out and get us caught up. We just need to do them, and probably might do one this week and get it out, or sometime in the near future. I promise, guys. And I apologize. That's my fault. So if you've been supporting us, I really appreciate it. If you can give us some money, that's really, really cool. If you're out there and you just ain't got it, or you think that bald guys don't need more money, I know that's fine too. The best way to support us is just by listening to the show. The listeners is my favorite part of the show. Without y'all, we couldn't be doing this. I have a lot of fun here, and I have y'all to thank for it. So anyway, I'll wave to our fans, give them the occasional goodbye. I'll ask Shazam if he has anything else for the show.
No.
All right. Well, if you don't have anything else for the show, sir, then go ahead and close it up.
You've been listening to episode 235 of the Shattered Soulstone, your Diablo community podcast. Missed an episode, you can find the show's blog, listen to the show archives at www.shatteredsoulstone.com. With your support, you can help the show grow. Become a Patreon today, patreon.com/soulstone. Come join us in-game or in-game community and clan, both named Shattered Soulstone, are open to anyone who would like to join. You can also join us in-game. You can also join us on Discord for the ultimate team and community-based experience. Find the Discord invitation link from our Twitter and Facebook page, as well as the Shattered Soulstone website. Show is powered by you, the listener. Send your contributions, thoughts, questions, and feedback to show at shatteredsoulstone.com. We love Twitter. Come join and tweet with us. Oh, one thing I did forget to. Yeah, we do need to say something else for the show. And you can either go to my Twitter and look at it, or you can go to Diablo's Twitter and look at it. But the BlizzCon wings for Diablo 3 are coming out, I guess, with the next next patch. Yeah, season 19. They are Lilith wings. That's why they didn't. That's why they couldn't say them beforehand. They look pretty badass. Again, I retweeted the tweet. It's on my Twitter, or you could just find it buried on the Diablo one. It doesn't matter. But anyway, we love Twitter. Come join and tweet with us. You can find the Twitter at Shattered Stone, Deadgreed at Deadgreed1812, and you can find me at Shazam081. You can find the show's Facebook page at facebook.com/Shattered Soulstone. We'd like to extend a huge thank you to Medros from Dawn Forge Productions for hosting our Loot Deviant show. You can find more shows from the Dawn Forge at www.thedawnforge.com. Thank you for listening. Until next time, from all of us here at the Shattered Soulstone, over 234 episodes for your listening pleasure.
Dawn
Dawn Forge!
Forge! Yeah.